Lilith, the forgotten first wife of Adam, truth, myth, or mystery. Have you ever wondered if Eve was truly Adam's first wife? For centuries, this question has lingered in the shadows of religious and mythological discourse. While the story of Adam and Eve is one of the most well-known narratives in human history, there exists a lesser-known, yet equally fascinating, tale of another woman, Lilith. Who was she? Why was her story erased from the mainstream narrative? And what does her existence reveal about the deeper mysteries of creation, gender, and power? Today we embark on a journey to uncover the truth behind Lilith, the mysterious figure often regarded as Adam's first wife. The story of Adam and Eve is familiar to many. They were the first humans created by God and placed in the Garden of Eden. Their disobedience, eating the forbidden fruit, led to their expulsion from paradise and introduced sin into the world. But what if this story is incomplete? What if there was another chapter, another woman, whose story was deliberately omitted or forgotten? Enter Lilith, a figure shrouded in mystery, controversy, and intrigue. In some ancient texts and traditions, Lilith is portrayed as Adam's first wife, a woman who refused to submit to him and was cast out of Eden for her defiance. Her story is one of rebellion, independence, and resilience, making her a symbol of empowerment for some and a figure of fear for others. But who was Lilith, really? Was she a historical figure, a mythological construct, or something in between? To answer these questions, we must delve into the origins of her myth, explore her portrayal across cultures, and examine her enduring legacy in modern times. The genesis of the Lilith myth. The story of Lilith begins not in the Bible, but in ancient Jewish folklore and apocryphal texts. One of the earliest and most detailed accounts of Lilith comes from the Alphabet of Ben Sira, a medieval Jewish text written between the 8th and 10th centuries CE. While this text is not considered part of the canonical Bible, it provides a fascinating glimpse into the myth of Lilith and her role as Adam's first wife. According to the Alphabet of Ben Sira, Lilith was created by God from the same dust as Adam, making her his equal in every way. Unlike Eve, who was fashioned from Adam's rib and thus seen as subordinate to him, Lilith was formed independently, sharing the same divine origin as her male counterpart. This equality, however, became the source of conflict between them. The text recounts that Adam and Lilith immediately clashed over their roles in their relationship. Adam demanded that Lilith submit to him, insisting that he was superior because he was created first. Lilith, however, refused to accept this hierarchy. She argued that since they were both made from the same earth, they were equals and should share power equally. When Adam refused to compromise, Lilith uttered the ineffable name of God, a powerful and sacred act, and fled the Garden of Eden. Adam, distraught by Lilith's departure, prayed to God for her return. In response, God sent 3 angels, Senoi, Sansenoi, and Samangeloth, to retrieve her. The angels found Lilith by the Red Sea, where she had taken refuge. They demanded that she return to Adam, warning her of dire consequences if she refused. Lilith, however, stood her ground. She declared that she would not return to a life of subjugation and instead chose to live independently, even if it meant facing punishment. As a compromise, Lilith made a pact with the angels. She agreed not to harm newborn infants if their names or images were inscribed on protective amulets. In return, she was allowed to remain free, though she would suffer the loss of 100 of her demonic offspring each day. This agreement solidified Lilith's role as a figure associated with childbirth, infant mortality, and nocturnal dangers, a far cry from her original status as Adam's equal. Lilith in ancient texts and traditions. While the Alphabet of Ben Sira provides the most detailed account of Lilith, her origins can be traced back even further to ancient Mesopotamian mythology. In these early traditions, Lilith is associated with a class of female demons known as Lilitu or Lilu. These beings were believed to roam the night, preying on vulnerable individuals, particularly pregnant women and infants. They were often depicted as seductive and dangerous, embodying the fears and anxieties of ancient societies. The name Lilith itself is thought to derive from the Sumerian word lil, meaning wind or storm. This connection to natural forces reflects her role as a chaotic and unpredictable figure, one who exists outside the bounds of societal norms. In Babylonian demonology, Lilith was often portrayed as a winged creature capable of flying through the night and causing harm to those who crossed her path. Interestingly, Lilith's presence is not entirely absent from the Bible. In the book of Isaiah, she is mentioned briefly in a passage describing the desolation of Edom. Wildcats shall meet with hyenas, goat demons shall call to each other. There too Lilith shall repose and find a place to rest. Isaiah 34:14. While this reference is often interpreted as a metaphorical description of a desolate landscape, it has also been seen as evidence of Lilith's existence in ancient Hebrew tradition. Despite this biblical mention, Lilith's story is largely absent from the canonical texts of Judaism and Christianity. This omission has led some scholars to speculate that her narrative was deliberately suppressed, perhaps because it challenged the patriarchal structures of these religions. By erasing Lilith from the creation story, the authors of the Bible may have sought to reinforce the idea of male dominance and female submission, as exemplified by the relationship between Adam and Eve. Lilith, as a symbol of rebellion, Lilith's refusal to submit to Adam has made her a powerful symbol of rebellion and independence. In a world where women were expected to be obedient and subservient, Lilith's defiance was seen as both threatening and transgressive. Her story resonates with those who challenge traditional gender roles and seek to assert their autonomy in the face of oppression. In Jewish folklore, Lilith's rebellion is often portrayed in a negative light. She is depicted as a dangerous and malevolent figure, one who brings harm to women and children. This portrayal reflects the anxieties of a patriarchal society, one that feared the consequences of female empowerment. By casting Lilith as a demon, these stories served as a warning to women who might be tempted to follow in her footsteps. However, not all interpretations of Lilith are negative. In some traditions, she is seen as a tragic figure, a woman who was unjustly punished for seeking equality. Her flight from Eden is viewed not as an act of defiance, but as an act of self-preservation. By choosing freedom over subjugation, Lilith becomes a symbol of resilience and strength, a woman who refused to accept a life of oppression. This duality, Lilith as both a demon and a heroine, has made her a complex and multifaceted figure. Her story invites us to question the narratives we have been taught, and to consider the perspectives of those who have been marginalized or silenced. In this sense, Lilith is not just a mythological character, she is a reflection of the struggles and aspirations of women throughout history. Lilith in medieval and Renaissance Europe. As the myth of Lilith spread beyond the confines of Jewish tradition, it took on new meanings and interpretations. In medieval Europe, Lilith became associated with witchcraft, sorcery, and the occult. She was often depicted as a seductive and dangerous figure, one who lured men into sin and caused harm to women and children. During the Renaissance, Lilith's image underwent a transformation. Artists and writers began to portray her as a powerful and enigmatic figure, one who embodied both beauty and danger. The pre-Raphaelite painters, in particular, were fascinated by Lilith's story. Dante Gabriel Rossetti's painting Lady Lilith depicts her as a voluptuous and alluring woman, combing her long hair as she gazes into a mirror. This portrayal captures the duality of Lilith's character, her beauty and her danger, her allure and her threat. In literature, Lilith became a symbol of forbidden desire and sexual liberation. She was often paired with Samael, an archangel who rebelled against God and became the embodiment of evil. Together, Lilith and Samael represented the darker aspects of human nature: lust, temptation, and chaos. Their union was seen as a threat to the divine order, a challenge to the authority of God and the moral codes of society. Despite her negative portrayal, Lilith's story continued to resonate with those who felt marginalized or oppressed. Her defiance of authority and her pursuit of freedom made her a symbol of resistance, a figure who challenged the status quo and refused to be silenced. Lilith as a feminist icon. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Lilith's story took on new significance as feminist thinkers and artists began to reclaim her as a symbol of women's liberation. No longer seen as a demon or a seductress, Lilith became a heroine, a woman who refused to accept a life of subjugation and fought for her independence. Feminist writers and artists reinterpreted Lilith's story, emphasizing her strength, resilience, and autonomy. They saw her not as a villain, but as a victim of patriarchal oppression, a woman who was punished for seeking equality. By reclaiming Lilith, these thinkers sought to challenge the traditional narratives of gender and power, and to celebrate the strength and resilience of women. In contemporary culture, Lilith continues to be a powerful symbol of empowerment. She appears in novels, films, and television shows as a complex and multifaceted character, one who embodies the struggles and aspirations of women. Lilith is portrayed as a figure of rebellion and independence, a woman who challenges the status quo and fights for her freedom. Lilith's transformation from a feared demon to a feminist icon reflects the changing attitudes towards gender and power in society. Her story reminds us of the importance of challenging oppressive systems and fighting for equality, even in the face of adversity. The truth about Lilith. So, was Lilith truly Adam's first wife? According to the biblical narrative, the answer is no. The story of Lilith is not part of the canonical texts of Judaism or Christianity, and her name appears only once in the Bible, in a passage that is often interpreted metaphorically. However, her story has endured through the centuries, evolving and adapting to reflect the fears, anxieties, and aspirations of different cultures and societies. Lilith's myth is a powerful reminder of the ways in which stories can shape our understanding of the world. Whether seen as a demon, a heroine, or a symbol of rebellion, Lilith challenges us to question the narratives we have been taught and to consider the perspectives of those who have been marginalized or silenced. Her story is one of resilience, strength, and defiance, a story that continues to inspire and empower. In the end, the truth about Lilith is not found in the pages of a sacred text, but in the hearts and minds of those who have been inspired by her story. She is a symbol of the power of myth, a reminder that even the most marginalized voices can have a profound impact on the world. And in a world where inequality and oppression continue to exist, Lilith's story is more relevant than ever.